Hello and welcome to a new topic, that is Roman Jakobson's model of the functions of language. Before we go deep into the topic, let's first talk about what is communication, because communication forms the part of the functions of language. The word communication comes from the Latin word communicare, which means to share or to be in a relation with. This makes sense because sharing and to be in relation with someone form the basis of communication. We have some more ideas about communication. Normally, to participate in the communication process, we need at least one person to share information. We also need one more person to receive that information. So what we get is that at least for communication to be successful, we need two persons to impart the information and to receive the information. Keeping in view, let's now talk about what Roman Jakobson has ideas about the functions of language. But before I start, let's have a brief introduction about who Roman Jakobson is. He's a famous Russian-American linguist. He looks at what needs to be present in the process of linguistic communication beyond the simple relationship of sending and receiving information. We have some more ideas about this man, Roman Jakobson. He introduced a well-known theoretical model of the functions of language. The model distinguishes 6 elements or factors of communication which are necessary for communication to occur, which are necessary for communication to happen or to take place, or for communication to be successful, without which communication in fact cannot happen at all, cannot exist at all. So these 6 factors are very, very important. What are they? Let's talk about each one of them through this diagram. For any communication to be successful, first we need the addresser. And who is the addresser? He is the sender. He may be the speaker, he may be the writer who writes the poem, who writes a book, he may be the speaker who delivers the speech. So what does it mean is that we must have an addresser. Addresser refers to sender, and sender may be anyone, maybe a normal person, maybe a teacher, maybe a doctor, maybe a writer, maybe a poet, any one of us who can be referred to as sender or the addresser. So the sender, the addresser, sends a message, content, idea, opinion, or reflection of thought. That is the second point. To the whom? To the addressee, to the receiver, to the listener, to the reader, to the audience. That audience may be an individual person, maybe a large group of people, whosoever they are, can be referred to as addressee, that is to say, receiver. And we continue. To be operative, the message requires a what? Context. Situation. Without context, no communication can take place. Without situation, no communication can take place. Without background, without any reason, there must be a reason for any communication to take place. If I am at the moment talking to you, it means I have the context. And what is the context at the moment? My context, my background, my reason is that I would like to tell you about Roman Jakobson's model of the functions of language. This is the context here at the moment. And this is making me speak to you, talk to you, explain to you. So for any communication to be successful, after we have the addresser sends the message to the addressee, we must have the context. We must have the situation. If we don't have, we cannot make any communication happen. Referred to a code common to the addresser and the addressee. So we need a code. Here, what does it mean? Code. Code refers to language. There must be a common code between the addresser and the addressee. That is to say, there must be common language, must be shared by the addresser and the addressee. For example, at the moment, my code is English language. It is in this code I am speaking. So, the English language at the moment is our common code that develops communication between you and me. So, code here refers to the language. Two persons must share the same language, must share the same code. That code, that language may be English, maybe Arabic, maybe Chinese, maybe Korean, maybe French, whatever that language is. But the point is that if the language is not common to the addresser, sender, and to the addressee, receiver, then communication cannot take place. For example, if I know English and I speak to you, and unfortunately the other person, he does not know English and I speak, can the communication take place? No, it cannot. Impossible. So here we must have the common code between the addresser and the addressee through which we can exchange ideas. And finally, the sixth point is contact, a physical channel and psychological connection between addresser and addressee. Here we have 2 points. Contact means physical channel. Sometimes I may talk to you sitting in front of you. That is our physical channel, physical connection. Sometimes we are having tea and we are talking. So that having tea and talking in front of each other, that is our physical channel. The channel way of contacting or the mode of contact could be many. For example, I may call my friend and talk. So the mobile may be a channel. Not only the channel that is important, but also the psychological connection. For example, I am talking to you and psychologically you are not present, you are not attentive to what I am speaking, then sometimes you are lost somewhere. Can the communication take place? Can that communication be successful? I keep on speaking and psychologically you are lost elsewhere. So there is no psychological connection between what I am speaking and what you are receiving. So the communication cannot take place. So sixth point is that we need a physical channel, either talking together, sitting in front of each other, or maybe through any mode, through any physical contact, maybe radio, maybe television, maybe mobile, through which you can communicate to your friend, to the audience. And at the same time, you must have psychological connection, because if you don't have the psychological connection between the addresser and the addressee, the communication cannot take place. So these are 6 most important factors, elements in the functions of language or for any communication to be successful or to take place. And I think this is very scientific analysis of the functions of language, or how communication takes place, or how communication should be successful. Thank you and goodbye.